Yeah, no.
This is a test of the City of Palaca audio system. Then test that one.
Remember the conversation.
Guys, one,
No, no.
guys, two. You're three.
As three,
Four. Nice five.
6.
what was that?
Here's somebody. Guys, one.
Oh, the test over again, that's sweet. Podium three.
Podium one.
As three.
I'm gonna stop the echo.
That's too much. for me.
And
I have a green pen.
ladies and gentlemen, it's 4 o'clock, we'll call the planning board meeting to order. See what this transit decided I need to do. We will start with, Reverend Mulberry, are you there? No? Okay, we're gonna start with the invocation, and, Mr. George Deloach is going to do that, followed by the pledge of allegiance by Ms. Dawn Rawls. You all stand, please.
Our Father which art in heaven, we're deep grateful unto thee for this day, blessings thou hast given unto us. We're thankful for this city of Palatka and for all those who participate and all that we do. We're thankful for this planning board and thankful for the opportunity to serve. We're thankful for the growth that Palatka receives and the opportunity to see that growth and the way it proceeds. Pray thou bless us as we go into this meeting. We'll do so under thy direction, for the good of this city and for the good of the people and citizens of it. These blessings we pray for humbly, if it be thy will, in the name of thy son Jesus Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'm going wire.
That's me. Yeah. Thank you. Chairman Kilburn,
Here.
Mr. Deloach,
Here.
Mr. Wallace.
Here.
Mr. Barnes,
Here.
Ms. Rawls,
Here.
Ms. Wilson,
Here.
and Ms. Owens. All members present and accounted for, sir.
Oh. Okay, now we move into. That gonna work?
Hmm?
Okay. Now we move into the, selection of chair and vice chair for the, planning board for the year 2023. I'll start with the chair. Is there any nominations?
Mr. Chair, I nominate Mr. Kilbrew as chairman of the city planning board.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that. Are there any other nominations?
I'll nominate Chase Barnes for, co-chair.
Yeah, no, there is.
Wait.
Is there any other nomination for chairman? Nomination, or for close of nominations. Chair closes nominations. I guess I'll win by default.
Just like the lottery.
Yeah, boy. Okay, I will, accept nominations for vice chair.
Don't we have to vote on it?
What do we, yes,
You went back on it.
I'm, yes, I'm going
Just to make it.
now. You can-
I nominate Chase Barnes as co-chair.
Vice chair. Second, we have a second nomination and a second. Or any other nominations? I'll close nomination for vice chair. And Mr. Chase Barnes, is that, following, I guess you would say? And I'll be absent. I have to worry about that with you. So, I guess with that being said, the next thing we move to is the swearing in ceremony for Mr. George Deloach.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Krantz?
Mr. Deloach, would you rise? And if you would, please, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, George Deloach,
I, George Deloach,
a planning board appointee of the Palaca City Commission,
a planning board appointee to the Palatka City Commission,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
I will faithfully perform the duties
I will faithfully perform the duties
of my appointed office
of my appointed office
and will support and honor,
and will support and honor,
to the best of my
to
ability,
the best of my ability,
all applicable laws
all applicable laws
of the state of Florida,
of the state of Florida,
Putnam County,
Putnam County,
and the city of Palaca.
and the city of Palatka.
I hereby, through this oath,
I hereby what?
through this oath,
Through this oath,
affirm I will perform
so perform
the duties of this public trust
the duties of this public trust
in a fair,
in a fair,
equitable, and ethical manner,
equitable, and ethical manner,
befitting the dignity and responsibilities
to assume the dignity and responsibility
of the office.
of the office.
Thank you so much for your continued service, sir.
You've been doing good for a while.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service, Mr. Blake, and congratulations with the reappointment. Now we move on to appeals procedure and ex parte communication. Any person wishing to appeal any decision made by the planning board with respect to any matter considered at such meeting will need a record of the proceedings, and for such purpose may need to ensure that a verbatim record of the proceedings is made, which record includes the testimony and evidence upon which the appeal is to be based, Florida Statute 286-0105. Can I get a motion for the, to approve the minutes for January 3rd, 2023?
Motion to approve the January 3rd meeting.
So it's made the motion. I have a second.
I'll second for discussion, but I have a, please.
Okay, Mr. Barnes, a second. Discussion.
Yes, if I could, on page 3, very last paragraph, my comments, Mr. Farmer indicating understood public not wanting to rezone back a bunch of houses into the area. That's accurate, but I just wanted to add the second half of my comment, which was that I understand not wanting to put 7 homes in the area, but by my calculations, it's already zoned 5. So I was just stating that I understand, and it was a valid concern, not wanting to rezone to add more, but that I was making the statement that it's already zoned for housing.
To repeat that back, Mr. Barnes understands not wanting to put 7 homes in the area, but it was already zoned for 5 homes
By my count.
by his count. Thank you.
Any discussion? All those in favor saying aye?
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes win. Okay, we're moving on to public comment. I have one card here that was, it didn't really say what it was, so we're just assuming it was public comment. Mr. Ron Cotton? Did you want to, were you to address a certain thing, or did you just have a,
Well, I just basically had a comment and some questions about.
okay, if you'll step to the podium, state your name and address for the record, please, sir.
My name is Ron Cotton. I have a residence here in Palatka, 2103 Edgemore Street in Palatka. And basically, I have a few questions and comments about the, I guess this is a discussion about the construction that's going on Mosley and Edgemore.
Yes, sir, there was, there is going to be some, I say that, I understood that was being, the case there was being withdrawn for Edgemore and Wesley.
And so there wasn't going to be any construction.
Well, I mean, you came for the right reason, but there, I understand, Ms. Walsh.
Mr. Cotton, as Mr. Barnes was saying, the property already is zoned for housing. There probably will be some houses constructed out there, just not according to this plat that has been submitted. Different plat will probably be submitted in the future, but not right now.
At the same location.
Yes, sir.
So therein lies my question. Some of the other neighbors told me that there was some letters sent out explaining all of the details. I never got such a letter, so pardon my ignorance in terms of asking questions now.
No worries.
But I was curious about the environmental impact.
Yes.
And that been considered? What's the environmental impact on the existing housing there in the area? Particularly, I'm concerned about Edgemore Street.
Yes.
So can anybody enlighten me about that?
I'll refer back to Ms. Walsh again.
I can either speak with you later, or I can give you an estimate of traffic that might occur with 5 new housing.
Okay. Forgive me for taking up
No
some.
worries.
When you talk, when I'm talking about environmental impact, water and sewage, runoff, that geeky stuff. That some of us like to know about when additional housing is going to be placed in proximity to existing housing. That makes sense.
Yes, sir, it does. If I might, Mr.
Go ahead.
Being as the property is already zoned for housing, they could build 5 new units there right today, and there doesn't have to be any special consideration as far as number of trips or anything like that. It's kind of like what we call background traffic or the de minimis impact. So that whole area has already been zoned and planned for housing. At some point in the past, I couldn't tell you when that was, but at some point in the past, it was done. The issue here was that the applicant had wanted to increase the number of houses by changing the zoning and planning it for such. So there are no real detrimental effects that would occur in general, because it's already zoned for housing, single family residence. That's what I'm gonna tell you. Train of thought. I think with the traffic, a single family residence typically averages about 10 trips per day. So you would see about 50 trips of vehicles on that roadway, on the roadways around there. Oh, I was going to tell you, it was the water and sewer. So there's already capacity for the water and sewer connections. Roadways, water, sewer, police, fire, it's all been considered.
Okay, how long ago was that impact study conducted?
No, that's what I'm saying, sir. It's already been done sometime in the past, and
Do we know when that was? Or-
whenever the existing zoning was in place, probably 50s, early 70s.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
earlier, maybe earlier.
Just a suggestion. It may be good to have an updated impact study done, just a suggestion. I'm just a little old homeowner, what do I know? But circumstances.
You know a lot, actually. We do request those in developments. So for example, they're out on St. John's Avenue where the cottages that St. John's is being constructed now, they were required to submit traffic impacts. As was Wawa, that's being constructed at Reed in 19, State Road 19 right now. Yeah.
Because I happen to know within that 50-year span, I know, and I haven't even looked into it, I know additional housing has already come into play since then. So it would be a good idea to have a new study done to see what the impact was. For example, at my own home, I already know that when it rains heavy, literally I could bathe in the front of my house. I already know it. So that's, you can understand why I would have a concern about that.
Mr. Scott, if you would, I'm not trying to be rude or nothing, but we do have a 3-minute time frame.
Thank you.
And if you have any other questions or anything like that, get with Ms. Walsh if you have suggestions, everything like that. She or Ms. Krantz can bring those things to the board, and they'll look into them for you.
Thank you. I didn't mean to pose so much.
No, not at all, Mr. Scott. Thank you. Any other public comments, just in general? Talk about a certain thing on the agenda? Okay, I'll close public comments. We'll move on to the regular public business. Ms. Krantz, would you do TV case 22-46 or sometime?
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. My name is Sunshine Lee, Planner 1. The case PB 2240. The case PB 2246 was tabled from the January 3rd meeting, and that's therefore it was advertised and placed on the agenda that you see here. Since that time, the applicant has withdrawn their application.
Okay. I do have one person that would like to speak to that. Jones?
Albert Jones. That, withdraw it. Additional comment.
Thanks, Mr. Jones. I just wanted to give you a chance to speak.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to who am I addressing here, Ms. Walsh? Y'all doing a double thing, a double whammy. Okay, Ms. Walsh, PB case 22-28, please. Request for preliminary subdivision plat review for Ivy Street subdivision.
If I might, bring forward the plat that was submitted this afternoon, this morning.
Okay.
Not pay, but, come through. Maybe a quarter of the way in.
So as Sunshine noted earlier, this case was actually tabled from last month as well, which is there was corrections that needed to be made to the plan. Some of the construction corrections have been made, some have not, but this is the latest draft of that preliminary subdivision, 3 lots from 1 lot on Ivy Street. And they will be consistent with the zoning of R2, or the required lot size and setback. It's pretty standard thing. The only reason that we're coming away with the size is because it's more than 2 parcels, and that's what our code requires. Planning is greater than 2. I'm happy to answer some questions, or try to answer any questions. Yeah?
So by definition, this is considered a new subdivision.
Yes, sir.
With the zoning, or there's no dimensions on the plat as far as lot sizes. Do they all meet the required zoning?
Yes, sir. There should be a table on the,
Take that back.
yes, sir, it should be like 9,000 square feet. 33 lots.
Wrong.
The side setback on these, from the property line is approximately 5 feet. Yes, it's needed in the back as well. Yes. Are the dotted lines, that's the layout of the house? No, ma'am, that's the building setback line. Okay, I was gonna say that. Big house, right? Wow.
They can build within.
Yes, yes, that's correct. The applicant is also in attendance, you can have questions of them.
Yeah, applicant like to step forward and speak.
Hi, Toby McWigan, and Builders.
Try that again.
Toby McWigan and Builders, I'm very branch from Charlie Springs, Florida. Are there any questions? On the plat? They fit, it's R2, which if you're building single family, you have to follow R1, and R1 is 60 foot wide minimum, 6,000 square feet, and we exceed that in 61 and change, and at 9,000 square feet. That's it. I mean, it's everything that's done for. We just use it as grade of class into the 22.
Any board members have any questions? Okay. Seeing none, thank you. I have, go ahead and open up this for public comment. John Jarvis. Yes. You would step to the podium, state your name and address.
John Jarvis and my 2719.
Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
2719 St. John's Avenue. And I border these. I'd like to know about the right of way, Oak Street. Are they going to put Oak Street through there? Because that's going to split that section.
Well,
There's no right of way shown on this plat. No, Elm Street may have been abandoned. I'll have to actually research that.
Because you have properties now behind their first two buildings. There's property back there that's all woods. Sooner or later, somebody's going to buy that, put houses in there, there's no access. So they're either going to come through Oak Street or Hamilton. Hamilton. We have a right of way we use for a driveway, which is Thomas Avenue, but it's all built up with trees beside our property. And you can see Hampton, I'm sorry, it's Hampton Street, I call it. Hampton Street goes about halfway there. And then you can see there's property there. They'll need access sooner or later, somebody's going to put a house there.
is that property you're talking about there owned by the church?
I don't know who owns it. The church is up more.
Right, but they own like only 4 blocks in there. They own both where the church is out on St. John's Avenue in Palm. And then they're at the corner of, I guess that's Hampton and, oh no, I'm backwards, excuse me.
Right there where it says site, on that single house there, it's right behind.
Okay,
Thomas Avenue is looks like a street coming there beside us. Yeah, right there. It's all full of trees now, but I got an easement on the front part there. The 2 houses that are side by side there, we have an easement there that allows us to drive on it. But basically what I want to give you my 2 bits of work here is that my wife and I, we moved here last year and bought a house in Palatka. I'm born and raised in the land, and everybody always hears about the land. The land's a beautiful town. The land says, well, I'll tell you what, every spot that had room enough to build a house, they built apartments, and it's just so overwhelmed with traffic. It's just, the town is terrible. I mean, I had to leave. We just didn't care to live there. It's traffic jam after traffic jam. This is a beautiful little town, except for that smokestack on the other side of the road. That's the only thing that I see wrong with this town. I like 17, takes all the traffic, so you can drive downtown and actually find a place to park. You get some nice stores in there, that'll be nice. It'd really be good. But it'd be nice if a zoning committee could put a certain amount of land, increase it, if you could. To like a 1/4 acre or 1/2 acre. well proportioned, where it's not so narrow. Those houses, if you go down Ivy Street, those two houses, they've already built. It's not even 10 feet from the neighbor's junk car that's beside the house. Can't believe that somebody actually bought that house. But, their property's so narrow that you put today's house on there, that's about all you got between the property line and the house. You can't drive through the backyard. Well, anyways, that's my 2 cents. And I love Palatka.
Thank you, Mr. Jarvis.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Mr. Jarvis.
Yes,
What's, you're directly
beside it.
west of this property?
Yes, yes.
What lots were you concerned about not having access?
The lot right behind, our house, directly behind our house. Not that one. No, go over to my house. That goes straight down, right there. There's woods all in there. And
Belong to the other properties.
those belong,
Those belong to those 2 houses. So
well, they got their, the fences,
The markers are.
doesn't go all the way down.
Hang on. This conversation.
I'm sorry.
You need to speak to the board.
Yes.
can I say something?
Yes, sir, Mr. Wallace.
All right, those larger parcels there, if there's not a street platted in them right now, it would be up to, and correct me if I'm wrong, it would be up to the developer of those properties to add access. So
You're correct, Mr. Wallace. This is Valeria. You're correct.
it doesn't matter whether that house, this house, or that house has a street in front of it. When they put the houses, you're talking about more of them in the future, they will have to plat streets and supply the access out of those big parcels. Okay. Does that make sense?
I guess that don't just, build Hampton.
Yeah, there's no streets in there, so when you say Oak Street, Oak Street running all the way through, it apparently by the city's map, Oak Street does not run all the way through. There's only one block of Oak in there. And then there's a vacant spot through there, and then you pick up an offset in Hampton. You know, there are no streets planted through there at this time.
No.
So if you went to build houses in there, you don't have to say, well, we're gonna put them on Oak Street, and, you know, the developer has to supply the land for the rights.
Out of his parcels.
Or out of their parcel for the rights.
Okay. So they wouldn't take it from my land.
No, they can't take, nobody. can
Okay,
take their land.
because you know, Bill, but they only get this domain, they need some of your land to.
You're not gonna find too many politicians in the county that are use in the lane.
raise for it. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Jarvis.
Thank you.
Okay, I have Ms. Jarvis. State your name and address, please.
Geraldine Jarvis, 2790 St. John's Avenue. I'm not gonna reiterate what my husband has said. I just wanna bring up Mr. Cotton's comments were significant. We have, all 3 of these new properties will be abutting on. And we already have 2 that came in the years since we bought the house. They built 2 more, and they're at a higher level than our house. And the people beside us on the other side have lived there over 50 years. They've never had a flooding problem, and we did not have a flooding problem with the hurricanes before any of this, you know, these 2 houses were probably their main head. But I'm just concerned they're building them higher, and over time, we're gonna have a water problem there. So that's about it. They cleared the land. I wasn't familiar with the process of clearing the land. This was all woods when we moved in, all along the back of our house. We couldn't see anybody's house. They cleared all that. And I know I have no recourse, you know, but we did live in the land all our lives. And we've seen that gradually get worse and worse from people our age. Remember when it was so beautiful everywhere. And this is the time to stop it or do something so it doesn't get as bad. These are 60, is it 60 foot? These properties are gonna be 60 feet wide. It's not very big, and I just think there needs to be a law or some kind of code or whatever you do, so that there is a decent sized property, or you are gonna have water problems and sewer problems and everything. You may not have them now. My brother in DeLand has a property, and he went through this. People building, and they said, you will never have a problem. They have flooding every year there. So you need to update your information too, I think, and not you, but have studies done to see what the impact will be. That's all I have to say. I wish I had some recourse, but this really is pointless, so.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'm gonna, well, maybe, Ms. Thomas,
Yes, sir.
got a question for you. I would like to make a statement to the board. Do I need to step down as chairman and let Mr. Barnes take over as chairman to make that?
You said you had a question for me?
Yes, I have a statement that I would like to make. Do I need to step down as chairman and let Mr. Barnes take over as chairman when I make that statement?
I'm not sure what the statement is yet, Mr.
Well,
Chairman Gilbert.
It's to the builder. I mean, it's a statement that I would like to make in my life. Yeah, I mean, basically public comment.
Could we call a recess for a minute and then you talk to me and then we go back on the record?
Ms. Ma'am, are you here?
No, sir, but I can hear you.
Mr. Chair.
Everybody here can hear me.
Okay, take a recess, empty the room and then, or why don't you call me? You step out for a minute, have a recess and
Recess
call
for
me.
about 5 minutes, please.
I just, you can just tell me one.
I'll bring the month meeting back to order. In the discussion with Ms. Thomas.
Chair,
I will-
could you turn on your microphone? I can't hear
My
you.
microphone is on and it's ringing. You'll hear it? I know you didn't hear it. We're not tied into your hearing aids.
Hello?
Discussion with Ms. Thomas. Is that Ms. Thomas saying hello?
Yes,
Hear me, Ms. Thomas?
barely.
Can you hear me now?
The volume hasn't changed.
Well, hang on just a minute. Ms. Krantz is working on that. Oh, she put me on the boot bump. Turn this off.
You can turn off. He's blasting me out.
Well, I'm blasting the whole room out. They're all holding their ears closed.
Oh, wow.
Even my old algebra teacher out there, Miss Hughes, she's like screaming at her like I was ninth grade. You want to make the statements you want to make, Ms. Thomas?
Okay, yes. I just want to advise the board that the statement that Ms. Chairman Killebrew is going to make is not, he's not speaking on behalf of the city of Palaca or the planning board. This is a personal statement of him, which he's allowed to make. However, I just want to know, advise you that you cannot take anything that he says as in consideration when you make your decision concerning this matter.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I wanted to speak to the contractors, the owners, whatever y'all are, I'm not sure what you are, okay? I'm sorry. Owners, okay, okay, fine. As a, speaking like Mr. Jarvis spoke a while ago about the land, and my mind's not set up one way or the other against what we're doing, okay? This is a personal opinion, but being a native of Palaca, I was born and raised here. I lived here for 61 years. My family has been here for 6 generations. Okay. I think that y'all could do a better job of selling yourselves to the people of Palaca, to the citizens of Palaca. I mean, I understand what you're doing. But coming in and wiping trees out, wiping the lots out like y'all do, every lot I've seen y'all do, that y'all done that to, every lot. And so it's my personal opinion. This is nothing to do with the city. This is not the reason I wanted to talk to Ms. Thomas. It's got nothing to do with the statement that anything that the city agrees with me on, or the board agrees with me on. This is personal. I just agree. I think that if y'all walked in and sold your properties a little better to your neighbors, and did a little bit better job of the yards and things like that, rather than coming and wiping out trees, that you wouldn't find the people ganging up in here on you while they do. Okay. So, I mean, that's not nothing against y'all. That's just a little bit of my opinion and advice to you. You know, because you can make your lots look a little better. You can care about your neighbors a little more than what you do. I mean, or, you know, that's not a personal slight. That's just my opinion. Okay. I mean, I know that you are in this to make money. I am a businessman. I understand that side of it. Okay. I mean, I do understand that side of it, but that's just my personal opinion. Okay. Okay. Thank you. So now I guess we need to close public comment and move into discussion of the board. In discussion.
I do have a question. This is a request for preliminary plat review. What happens after that?
Well,
Once this is approved, the applicant has 6 months to submit a final plat. And at that time, any and all corrections must be made. And then they can move forward with building their homes now, once this is approved. They've got 6 months to submit a final plat.
If I understand right, we're approving the concept of 3 lots in that configuration. The plat has a lot of work to be done, and we will get it back in less than 6 months.
Any further?
I live in a community, I'm a homeowner, and I understand that I'm on this board to be the public voice. And if the city and the county have a zoning and it's set up for residential, there's R1, there's R1AA, there's all these zonings, and there's already, you know, we're recutting the same thing. We just keep cutting it up. You know, we had a problem with last month's, you know, meeting with, you know, instead of having 7 lots, we were gonna do 11 lots. Same thing here. We got 1 lot and we could build 2 houses on it, but we want to cut it up into 3 and just cram 1 more in. The neighbors have spoken on it. They don't want it. So it's my opinion that, you know, we have a builder that comes into our community from out of town. They don't live here. They don't pay the taxes here. They invested their money and they're making money on it. So we can sit back and let this home builder come in and wait for another home builder that's gonna build high rises on our riverfront, or, you know, just because they bought the piece of property. You know, we're gonna keep getting chopped up even more and more. We have to go one way or the other. We're either gonna shoot houses in, or we're gonna just go by what it's zoned for, because our neighbors can't redivide their properties and build more houses and rent them out or make money on them. They live there. They've lived there for years. You know, and I just think we're sliding the people that have lived here, raised our kids here, paid the taxes, and you know, they shop with our small businesses. They use our grocery stores, they use our roads, they use our systems. I just, you know, I'm fine with 2. What I say?
Mr. Wallace?
Correct me if I'm wrong, there's not been 2 houses built on this. This is the adjacent property to the 2 new houses that are out there. Right?
No, I don't think it is.
Yeah, well, they couldn't have built 2 houses without a plat.
One parcel, so it's not.
So this is 1 parcel here, and we're cutting the 2 new houses that are out there. Y'all correct, me, y'all built them.
They're on the
They're to the south.
Hang on. Would you step to the podium, state your name and address, please, again?
And what I'm saying is, instead of adding a plat in another house to where there's already been 2 built, y'all built 2 on the adjacent property to the south. It's not a part of these 3 lots.
Correct. Those 2 are an acre, we just split them in half, the lot split.
And you had the parcels there to build 2 houses at that time already existed. And now they want to put 3 houses in the big dirt area to the north of those 2. And you can't put 3 in without doing a plat by Florida statute. So they're got to put a plat in, which is going to divide that dirt area into 3 parcels, which all meet zoning. And,
I mean, the zoning's R2, so technically
Yeah,
I got the
you've got-
multifamily in.
yeah,
I
you've
could
got
put
the
in-
zoning.
I would
So-
prefer not to do multifamily, I prefer to have.
There are no homes already built on this.
I know.
Okay, that's what you said. You said they built to it, now they won't build another.
No,
Maybe I misunderstood it.
no, they
I'm
don't,
old.
they don't have to submit a plan. They could divide this into two houses. They could bypass all this, go to permitting with two sets of plans
That's
on
correct.
two parcel numbers and bypass all that. They're asking for special permission to squeeze a third house in there.
Okay, but they're not two already built there.
No, it's a
That's
vacant
all
piece
to
of
the
property.
south,
It's a big, I'm not, there,
This
has
is
nothing to do
entirely
with the other
new,
two. Yeah.
which
They,
has
on
nothing
this
to,
particular property on Ivy Street, they can go in right
I
now
know that,
and build two houses.
I know that.
So they're asking permission to put a third house on this property. Which is zoning. Which it fits, it conforms, it conforms.
I know
It
that.
absolutely conforms,
I know
but
that.
as a citizen on this board, as a volunteer citizen on this board, you have neighbors come in that don't like it. And you're gonna make a decision and shove it in their yard, basically.
So why are there rules if you can't, when you have somebody come in to subdivide something or to have a
If the
development?
neighbors
you
came
have-
in and
you
said,
have
we love
development
it,
standards and you meet and exceed the development standards.
I understand that, I understand that.
That's your personal.
That's
It is-
a-
it's
it's
just-
personal.
It's,
not.
it's the opinions of the neighbors. They came in and they spoke and said they don't want it, and.
But by Florida statute, they can do exactly what they
Yeah,
said.
they can build a house on these lots. They
And-
conform and they fit and that's that. But being a neighbor, I'm just stepping aside and saying the neighbors.
And I'm saying, as this board, if they are within zoning and Florida statutes, we can't deny it. That's correct.
That's correct.
You know,
Okay,
I'm a step hard. I agree with everything Ed said, you know, but they're within statute, they're within zoning. We can't refuse.
okay, well, thank you. Let's not get into an argument, let's just move on with our board. Ms. Jarvis, you've already spoken, so. So, do we have any more discussion? I call for a motion.
I will move that we request, or that we approve the preliminary subdivision plat for the Ivy Street subdivision.
Barnes made a motion, Mr. Walls seconded. All those in favor?
But with this is just the preliminary plat. It's got a lot of, not, you know, I, dot, T, cross,
That is correct.
but the concept is good.
Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
The one dissenting vote for the plat to be approved. Plat's approved.
Mr. Chair, can I make a comment?
Yes, sir.
Just to piggyback, last week and this week, heard a lot of conversations that are contrary to the proposals at hand. And I'm hearing a lot of folks that don't want the lands around them developed. And I understand the concern. Logistically, I understand it. On a macro level, the city develops a comprehensive plan on how the city wants to use property and develop and improve it over the course of time. If we don't want development in and around us, we need to take that up way above us to the commissioners, and those changes need to be made to the comprehensive plan. All my life, and I'm fairly young in the community, or excuse me, I've been here all my life, fairly young in general. I've heard people begging for progress in our community. And, you know, progress can happen organically, but it can also happen externally. Town builders coming in, see an opportunity to make money. I don't disagree with what Mr. Killiford said, but I also, on the flip side, as a real estate agent, see the need for homes in Putnam County. And I feel like many of y'all have a big issue with development. And I'm not saying you're wrong, and I'm not saying that we don't need to change our overall scope of what we want Palaca to look like in 50 years. That's fine, but we need to do that accordingly, so that we don't get into this situation where we've got folks that have already invested money and are playing by the rules, getting a whole lot of flack that could have been prevented. So that was my only comment, and we'll move forward with that.
And with that being said, I would like to address what I said. You know, all I'm saying is I know that there will be outside developers coming to this community. And they're here. I mean, not just you guys, I'm talking about bigger developers, big dogs that want to eat. And, what I'm saying is, there's just a way of doing that in this community. Coming in, talking to the neighbors, preparing them a little better than what's been done. And I don't disagree. I understand. I just wanted to clarify what I said. Okay, very good. Okay.
And we have had cases in the past where that was done. And, you know, the neighbors and the developers got together and pretty much everybody was happy at the end.
Yes, sir.
But it takes everybody. Yep.
It takes everybody working together before they get to us. And that's the thing. Once you get to us, we got to play by the rules. We've got to approve, just like you said a while ago, Mr. Wallace. We've got to approve all that. I mean, as long as it's within the rules. And there's no way that we can take back or disqualify anything they've done. You know, we've got to go within our rules and our zone. So, but I try to be the peacemaker. I try to bring people together. You know, but there's just easier ways to get together than to stand on either side of these chairs and, you know, with darts in your eyes at other people. There's better ways to do that, you know, but it's, okay. But again, like I said, you know, we passed it, y'all are good with your first variant, so. Yes, I want to say this also, every time you walk through that door, we're not against y'all, okay? Okay, we're not. Okay, well, let's move forward. We're going to PB 23-03 to amend the city of Palaca's comprehensive plan to adopt annual capital improvement elements. Ms. Walker?
Mr. Chairman? The Florida statutes require certain elements to be included in our comprehensive plan. And one of them is a capital improvements element. And that element is intended to schedule and provide a framework for funding capital improvements that will either increase capacity of various public services or address deficiencies. So it also helps to remain abreast of replacements to meet future demand. We are required to repeat this every single year for Florida statutes. I don't think that this has been done in the city of Palaca for quite some time. So. I would like to start at the front of this and just give you this overview that was provided to me by our consultant as part of the project that they've been working on for us this year. So we are attempting to ensure that the comp plan is economically feasible and ensure the efficient utilization of public facilities with the need for capital improvements by considering the need for and location of public facilities, outlining principles for public facilities which are necessary to implement the plan for construction, extension, or increasing capacity and correcting existing public facility deficiencies. We do this by estimating costs and then setting standards to ensure the availability of adequate public facilities, including acceptable levels of service. So in each of our comprehensive plan elements, particularly the public facilities one, we provide something called a level of service, and that is what is the standard that we want to use to provide parks and recreation, to provide water and sewer services, to provide police and fire, and also for transportation. And this is, we were talking earlier about, the increased trips on a road. That's probably the most glaring example of all of this, is that, say, for example, there was a larger subdivision that was going in, well, I'll just use one under construction right now, Cottages of St. John, you all know where that is? Okay. They're adding 194 duplex rental units, market rate. As part of their construction and their PUD process, they were supposed to provide a traffic study. And that would let us know how many new trips are expected on St. John's, and when they get there, which direction are they going? Are they gonna turn right, or are they gonna turn left? And how many trips are they, like I said, are they going to add to St. John's Avenue? We say that the level of service on St. John's Avenue is supposed to be a C, and the number of trips that are added by that development drops that level of service down to a D, which is pretty congested. So the scale goes from A through F, right? So A is like a brand new road nobody's driven on yet, and of course F is failing. If we say that the service goes from C to D, we need to do something about that roadway. We either need to widen it, or we make sure that they have turn lanes, or there may even be a warrant for a stoplight. That's a big, getting a stoplight at an intersection, whole other conversation, but it's very complicated, and FDOT gets involved, and you have to have quite a bit of engineering done to determine whether or not a stoplight would be warranted at a particular intersection. So in this case, the cottages, their traffic levels are expected to require a turn lane going into their development coming from the west, and then also a turn lane going into the development on the east. So a left turn lane and a right turn lane. But it does not rise to the level of a stoplight that would be needed. The question then becomes, who's going to pay for that? Those improvements. Typically, it's the developer. And in this case, that's exactly what's happening. In other cases, it could be the city. The city would then perhaps work with the developer to share the cost of that improvement to address that level of service deficiency. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So the same thing happens with police and fire, water and sewer, just like I mentioned. And that's where we get this capital improvement thing. So, for example, if we had to put a roadway in there, we were going to be responsible for that roadway in front of the cottages, we would have to have that in this budget. And we would have to address where those funds were going to come from, like general revenue, general fund, or taxes, whatever it might be. That's what we have to let people know. This is what we're doing. This is how we're going to address it. And this is where we're going to put capital improvement. And that's all this whole thing is for. It's part of our comprehensive plan. And again, it's something that has to be looked at every single year. There are different factors. I can get into this really deep if you want me to, sir. If you don't, just say so. That's a general summary of what this is about.
Well, I side of the board will get any deeper. Do you have any questions of Ms. Walsh that you would like to know deeper answers? Come on, Ms. Martin, you find.
I don't, I was supposed to be funny, but it's.
Okay.
If we're gonna go much deeper, I'd like to call angels and get them.
All right. So, I guess I need to call for some public comment to this, like anything else. Is there any public comment to this, comprehensive plan, the amendment to that's been put forth to us? Okay, seeing none, I'll ask for discussion. The board?
I have a question. Scott, sorry.
I've already moved past public.
Okay, all right.
Seeing none, hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve or not approve this comprehensive plan amendment.
Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion to approve the amendment to the city's comprehensive plan by adopting the capital improvement elements, ordinance 2023-06.
Thank you, Mr. Barnes. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Wallace is second. I will ask for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Comprehensive pass, amendment passes. So thank you very much, Ms. Walsh. Do you have any comments? Anybody in staff have any comments?
I'm good.
Frank?
I'm good. Thank you for bearing with my absence last meeting. Appreciate it.
No worries, no worries. Okay,
Actually, may I ask one question of the board?
yes, ma'am.
Something that we've been asked to do as department heads for the commission is to provide an overview of projects that we're already working on or are in process. I'd like to know if you want to be interested in seeing that position from my department. Sure.
Absolutely.
Right at the next meeting now.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Walker. That being said, there's no further comment from the board.
One quick one. I
Yes,
just want to reiterate to the public one more time, that if you do have a problem with the growth and development that's happening around you, you're perfectly entitled to that, and there's a lot of you that feel the same way. If you feel strongly about it, it needs to be brought up to the commission and to the appropriate people, so that you're happy in our community. That's the ultimate goal. So, don't be discouraged. Go make something happen.
Very good, Mr. Barnes, thank you. With that being said, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We are adjourned.